All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of What's What BR. Today we have Gary Littlefield with us today from Gulf Coast Bank and Trust. Gary, how is it?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Awesome. Well, look, I know you guys are super busy and a lot of things going on, but first, you're with Gulf Coast, Bank and Trust, but for the most part, we're kind of jumping in and having some conversations about this. It's been years now, but I don't know if everybody knows auctions in August,
Yes,
right?
sir. Excuse me,
For
Brandon. No, we started in 2008. This was really Guy Williams, our president and CEO's concept. Our ability to give back to the communities that we serve. We have 19 branches. Kind of give you a real quick background on the bank: Orleans, Jefferson, St. Bernard, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, and East Baton Rouge Parish. We also do business in 26 other states across the country, which makes us a little bit unique. We have a SBA group in Dallas. We have a factoring companies throughout those 26 states. We've got mortgage operations as far away as Destin. And we're constantly, just like every other institution, constantly getting asked about different ways to give back to those nonprofits in our world. The bank's 30 years old now, so Guy figured this out in 2008, what better way to serve our communities but to give back to all of those nonprofits within our footprint. So he came up with the concept. It's very simple. Okay, anybody that is involved with the nonprofit, sits on the board of a nonprofit, is executive director for a nonprofit, or just wants to support that nonprofit, can donate an auction item in the name of that nonprofit, and 100% of the sales proceeds goes directly back to that nonprofit. And we have a website which we've had for a long time. It's called auctionsinaugust.com. It's absolutely gone viral. We have raised over $1 million for over 350 nonprofits, not only throughout our footprint, outside of our footprint. We got some great stories to tell people, but any items that are donated, we like those to be in $50 increments or better. You can package things together. We get people that give us a lot of different restaurant cards, etc., and we could package those together and make that $150 item. Any items that are valued at over $150, we actually put on our live auction on the internet, and that way they can actually key in and look at all those items. I apologize, I'm getting stuff popped up during my workday here. But anyway, it's worked out extremely well for us, Brandon, and we know this year, 2020, has been a tough year. This first 6 months for all of our nonprofit world. I was telling you early before we got on this that between golf tournaments and sporting clays tournaments and just regular auction events that I go to during the first 6 months of the year, those are the big time fundraisers for a lot of these nonprofits, and they've missed out on the majority of those. So we're looking at auctions in August to be even bigger this year for all those folks. We want to make sure we get them included. So any information that any of your viewers, anybody listening in today would like, they can just go to Gulf Coast Bank and Trust and go to the auctionsinaugust.com website, and they can start to get the information. We'll start that program August 1st and end it August 31st.
So is the auction start on the 1st?
On August 1st, that's correct. It'll go live at that time.
Well, do they all run, pretty much the whole month,
they do.
For all the items, or some items go,
No, everything stays live until that time. There are some items from time to time that, we just love them so much we keep promoting them. In fact, one of the things I love to tell people is our entire marketing budget for the bank is dedicated July and August just for this event. I don't know how anybody else can say that in any world, but that's how dedicated Guy Williams and the executive management team at the bank are. Sheila Englert, who is our marketing director, does a fabulous job putting all this together and keeping and tracking it. Brandon, so we welcome and encourage everybody. We know that there's going to be limitations. Our branches are open, our lobbies are open right now, but there may be some people hesitant to come and actually look at the items during August, so that way they can view them online if they want to, and that's okay right now.
Yeah, and so to jump back just to make sure, so everybody's kind of clear, maybe they, kind of missed it. So these items that get donated, they're brought into the lobby.
Yes.
You've got 19 branches, here in South Louisiana, that they can jump into. And these items are out for display. They can come through, take a look at them. most of the items, are also going, especially the ones if it's over 150, are going to the online site,
That's right.
as well. So people can actually, you can pull your phone out, go to auctionsandaugust.com, look through this, vote, or not vote. We've got voting going on, so my
They'll just
brain's
keep
in the voting
bidding.
world.
They'll just keep bidding. They
Keep
can check
bidding.
it every day. They can check it every minute they want to. I don't know if you want to do that, but you certainly, I have people that like the last week of August, they're actually going crazy, making sure that, the item they want is going. I'll give you some examples. This is probably one of the things your folks may want to hear about. We have individual businesses, we have people that are donating, and it can be a lot of different things. I've had sports memorabilia donated on behalf of the cancer services, just an example. We've had some beautiful artwork donated. We've had condos, for Florida trips, Alabama trips, etc. Mountain trips, etc. We've had boat excursions. We've had fishing trips, hunting trips, etc. All those are in play. We love every bit of it. Now, I'm sorry, Brandon. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out for people to keep that resonated, that it's not just things,
Oh,
or
absolutely
items.
not.
It can be experiences.
Absolutely.
As well.
Experiences are big for us. We love that. We do ask them to a little bit catalog exactly what the experience is, catalog what that time period would be. A lot of people may have a vacation home or condo in Florida, I say Orange Beach, for instance. And that time period may be off season, and that's okay. People love to go off season. We just need to know that it's available from October to December, or January, February, March. And people are still going to sign up, and they're still going to want to do it.
I've done to get people thinking. If you haven't done an off-season beach trip, I highly recommend it. It is
fantastic.
A lot less chaos. It's quiet. You can walk. You get the vacation that you actually wanted that you don't get, in July.
No doubt, Brandon. Good point.
So with that, you guys have been doing this since 2008, right?
Yes, sir.
And have you been kind of spearheading this, for?
Well, I wouldn't say spearheading it. The word has to get out. We have two great branch managers in Baton Rouge. We have great branch managers in all the other 17 branches we have. Guy Williams, like I said, it pushes it hard on his, when he's on the radio. We have Sheila Engert, who's our marketing director, that pushes it. But we have 700 employees at the bank. Okay, and all 700 employees know that this is Guy Williams' passion. So we love it just as much as he loves it. And we like the fact that, we're giving back. And, it's easy for me to sit here and just tell you, how successful it's been, because it's been successful. I mean, I don't know of any banks, community banks especially, that have raised over $1 million in that time period for over 350 nonprofits. That's huge. And every one of them keep coming back to us and saying, look, we want to get back to you. We want to make sure that our folks are knowledgeable. When are the sign-up sheets going back out? When can we get more information on the 2020 auction? And I literally just printed those off this morning. So we are excited about it. We want to get the word out. We appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on and talk about it.
No, absolutely. It seems like you said, and not to state the obvious, but this is a tough year when asking for donations, and what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these nonprofits, it's not just federal grants, that are, giving, keeping them going. It is the donations.
Right.
It is these golf tournaments, that these groups make a lot of money to allow them to do what they do. And so to find a way it's not exactly the cool thing to get people all together in big groups right now. So, what can we do?
Yeah, we've become the bank of choice for a lot of nonprofits, and our footprint, as well as all of the other footprints we serve. And the reason for that is we provide all of the banking services for those nonprofits at no charge. That's how strongly Guy Williams and our management team feel about a strong nonprofit community. A strong nonprofit community means a strong community. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. And we know that everybody's services, and I could list them out. I don't want to pick on anybody in particular. But everybody that's in that nonprofit world is very important to support all the causes that we have. I've said on numerous boards in the past, I know you have too, Brandon, and that's part of the way we give back too. I wish I had a list of all of the officers and employees of the bank that sit on nonprofit boards. It's very close to the number of employees we have. Almost every one of them are engaged at some point in time. So that's a matter of pride with us. We feel like as a community, Main Street Community Bank, giving back to our Main Street nonprofits is just a good way to operate.
Absolutely. Well, and I thank you guys for that.
Yeah,
It's not too many
absolutely.
people can, say that, this is obviously got to be, like you said, it's a passion for Guy, and the employees there, because taking in all these items, getting these items set up,
Oh,
getting the,
absolutely.
the website set up, the transactions and the bidding and, then delivering and ship, this isn't just a, let's just do something, flip it on, turn it off, kind of thing.
Now, I got to tell you a real cute story. When we first started, I started the bank in 2006, so I've been there 14 years. And went to my first customer and started talking to them from my nonprofits and started talking to them about auctions in August. And we had the basic concept laid out. And they said, "Well, what's in it for you?" And I said, "Nothing. 100% of the money that's raised on your behalf, on that nonprofit's behalf, is going to go to you." And the way we do that's very simple. Once that person, let's say it's you, Brandon, wins that bid, you write a check to that nonprofit, okay, and you come into the branch to pick that item up. We actually take the check and deliver it to that nonprofit, and there may be multiple checks because there may be multiple items, and it's so much fun to walk into an executive director's office at 10 o'clock in the morning with an envelope full of checks and say, "We just wanted to thank you again for participating in auctions in August." Sometimes they don't even know that a lot of their board members and or supporters have donated on their behalf because they just do, because they love what's going on. So it took them a while to grab the concept that this was not something the bank was doing for us. It was something that we were giving back to the community. And I did it for many years when I served as chairman of the Crisis Intervention Board. And getting the board members to do it, and immediately they all said, "Absolutely. Where's the donation form? I've got several things that I've purchased in the past that I really don't have a need for now. I'm going to re-gift it, if you will."
Mhm.
Some of it was LSU sports memorabilia, which was really cool. I actually bid on a few things, didn't win it, but it was good to try. But at the end of the day, we raised a pretty good amount of money for that nonprofit, and that's what these executive directors, God bless every one of them, because they work extremely hard. The board works extremely hard, and their supporters work extremely hard every year to meet those budgets. And as well as I do, like we mentioned earlier, this is going to be a tough year for everybody.
Yeah. What is the size? When you talk about this, can anybody, donate,
Yes,
something and bring it in? You don't
absolutely,
have to,
absolutely. No,
you know,
we've had people come in and say, "Look, I have a nonprofit, and they have a school, they have other people or other organizations they want to contribute to." Absolutely. No, that there's they have to do is go to the site, print off the donation form, get a description of the item, and then physically bring the donation form, the item, to one of the branches. It doesn't have to be in Baton Rouge. It could be in Mandeville, Covington, somewhere in New Orleans, and depending on where they live. And we certainly like to have help them with that here in the Baton Rouge area. But it doesn't have to be a Baton Rouge nonprofit. We've had people with the Basset Hound Society of United States donate on behalf of that. I chuckle because they're actually one of our community rewards winners from years ago, and I'm thinking, I don't have a Basset Hound, but they must people must really like Basset Hounds. I do, but anyway, it's
that's
just kind of fun. It kind of gets you out there. So
it sounds interesting. It sounds, that it's an easy, it's not a high barrier, to jump in. This is
not at all.
something, if you're running an errand, you could drop something off. Nine
Absolutely,
times out of 10, I'm willing to bet you got a form sitting in the lobby. If somebody doesn't
we
have it,
do.
if they've got it, they can drop in. But there's so many things. What I've noticed, yes, the economy's gotten, tight, but there's some money out there. There's some stimulus money that's made it back in. People I've noticed are kind of looking for that deal, or kind of looking for something, and it gives some excitement.
Yeah.
It's what I'm picturing is I know the way, when I'm looking for something, especially if I'm doing an eBay auction or something like that, it's, I want it and then I'm checking back with it. I'm back and forth, and
Oh, sure.
it's this long engaged, and then it's, do you find have you had this kind of, for lack of better words, kind of make it viral to where people start, sharing on social media,
Oh,
that, hey,
absolutely.
this is happening now, or
Yeah, we had Sandra Bullock, actually. This, if you got time for the story, and you can cut it down if
absolutely.
you need to. But Sandra Bullock had actually done a movie in New Orleans many years ago. I don't remember the name of the movie. It wasn't the Blind Side. obviously, but it was some other movie she'd made. And she found out about our auctions in August and said, well, I'd like to donate an item to your auction to benefit a school in New Orleans. And we said, absolutely. So we ended up working through her manager, and we ended up with the 1964 Chevrolet Corvette that had been custom built for her birthday. And she decided to donate that to us. And she said, whatever money that it is raised by that auction, I'll double it. Okay. So it ended up, I believe the number was $70,000. So she ended up matching that another 70,000 and ended up with 140,000 going to that school. So that was probably the biggest year that we had in the history of auctions in August. But yeah, it was very unique, and literally that one was across the country because people knew a little bit about, obviously, Sandra Bullock. They kind of knew about Jesse James and his creative work and how he'd put the car together. So they were very interested in that vehicle and winning it. I don't know who won it. But yeah, we love those kind of stories because at the end of the day, that went to a great school in New Orleans and probably helped a lot of kids, with computers and other things that were needed down there. So
absolutely,
those are good, feel good stories.
That does, and I'd love to have, whenever it's all said and done, to come back and get some of those stories.
Yeah, we can do a recap.
So, kind of where things are. So anything that, you can think of, that we should let everybody know, it seems pretty simple, whether you're directly involved, or if you are a nonprofit, you haven't heard it. If you haven't heard of this before, come out from under the rock.
I think there's two things that I tell people. Number one is look through the list of contributions that you've made in the past and think about a different way that you can contribute to that. A lot of people say, let me get my checkbook out. Okay. And that's the way I've been giving the nonprofits for a long time. But there's actually items in your house, items in your closet, items that are in storage that you don't have a need for anymore. It doesn't have to be sports memorabilia. I kind of pick on that because I'm a big sports fan, but a piece of art. I've got several pieces of art that I've donated over the years. I've got some World War II aviation things that I donated on behalf of the Commemorative Air Force that went fine. That went for some pretty good money. And they send me a letter every year thanking me for that. So there's things that we've done. I guess jokingly, what I tell you, Brandon, is kind of fun. If you think about the last 3 months of how much money you've saved by not eating out, okay, and maybe you've spent it in other ways. Maybe you've been shopping online, but take that 3 months worth of, hey, we haven't been able to eat out, and think about taking some of that money and contributing it to a nonprofit in your area that you feel strongly about, or donating it. Or bidding on something here for auctions in August, come August 1st. So, again, I'm not joking about it. It's real money, but people that have accumulated a little bit extra because they haven't been able to eat out. My wife and I haven't been able to eat out in 3 months now. So I'm waiting for the day, to get out. And do something.
I'm thinking, I remember at one time my wife used to say she wanted to have a garage sale. And I was just dreading it. And I was sitting there, I remember my words were like, how much money are you going to make off the garage sale? And she told me something, I'll make a couple $100. I was like, I'll pay you a couple $100 not to have the garage sale, and let's just go donate everything.
That's right. Goodwill or Salvation Army, or whoever it is. Right.
So the logic I'm going with that, trying to deduce and make it back to here is find some of those items, that you think you would have put in a garage sale, or that you would have, just gone, but have fun with it. Even if you're not necessarily able to go and bid on something, maybe you've got something that somebody else might want to bid on, and it's just fun to watch and see that, you might have had something sitting in a guest room, for years that you just decided you don't want, but for the whole month of August, you could tell people about it. You've gotten involved. You can watch and see, that this item, every day that increments a little bit more. There's some other buzz that people are wanting, and have some fun. I remember I told somebody the other day on the show, if you'd watched the movie about Facebook, I like the part where it's kind of in the beginning of the movie where Zuckerberg's doing some work on the computer and he's talking about he has to write a paper and needs research and opinions, and he spins around the computer and goes and types something up, and somebody's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just go in online every now and then and type something just to stir the pot, and get people moving again, to see what happens. So find those old items, kick it in there and stir the pot a little bit.
Well, hopefully you'll see some billboards coming up. You'll probably hear me on the radio We do a lot of work with Guarantee Media pushing this out. We actually have a lot of our nonprofits that'll come in from time to time and do some, back and forth live interviews about what it's meant. But it's kind of fun. I'm just kind of thinking back through some of the great items we've had. We've had, upright pianos, baby grand pianos. Obviously, we didn't put those in the branches. Those stayed on site until such time. But one of the I guess, funniest things we had is a lady called and said, I've got some artwork I'd like to donate on behalf, and I can't remember the name of the nonprofit, unfortunately. But she literally unloaded a van at our branch at Old Goodwood, and we literally had almost the entire conference room filled up around the walls with all this beautiful artwork. And of course, I'm not someone who can go in, and she didn't know either. It's just artwork that was left over from her husband who collected art. She had no interest in it. She was moving into a smaller condominium and needed to get rid of it. And she thought this would be a great way to do it. And we raised thousands of dollars for that nonprofit. But I actually called Ann Connolly with Ann Connolly Fine Art to come down and actually go through each of the paintings and catalog them and tell us what she thought they should go for. In other words, we didn't want to give away a painting that was worth $2,000 for $500 because we didn't know. Right. So that's kind of where we use our resources from time to time, Brandon, to kind of go in and say, what is that football that was signed by Nick Saban? Today would it be worth, right? I don't know what it'd be worth today, but most people put a number on it. We're very happy to get that number. People sometimes underbid, and we're going to say, no, that's not enough. We want to start at a level here, and obviously it's going to go up from there. So it's a pretty simple process.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
And I had no idea, to kind of tie back where you're saying, the amount, the dollars that this will put back, into these nonprofits, the help, it's almost, can we, as a community, can we step up, and yeah, we didn't go play golf, this spring, but you would have gone to play. You would have donated, your $200. You would have spent, another $100 a day moving around the cart, kind of challenge everybody. Add that up mentally, find an item, get involved, and have fun. You got a month to do it. So,
well, the answer to what is in it for them is exposure. It gets a lot of people to see their name. It gets a lot of people to start thinking about them. And sometimes there's a story behind what they do. Sometimes it's very obvious who that nonprofit is. And there's a lot of nonprofits that you really kind of have to dig in. So we tell a little story behind that nonprofit sometimes, maybe just a paragraph off their website that gives a little blurb about what their community services are all about, maybe even who serves on their board. So that helps get the message out to people. Most people are very quick today to get on Google and find that out themselves, but we have a lot of those nonprofits that provide that to us, and we love having that opportunity.
Well, and like you said, also, if you are a nonprofit, reach out, get involved with this. Absolutely. Because if you don't know about this, you probably also didn't know, as a, plug for you guys, at the bank is, like you mentioned, for anybody who skipped past it, you mentioned all of your banking service. You're giving all these services to these nonprofits.
Right. Yes.
That's a big deal. That's literally not, hey, here's a little bit of what you do. This is what you guys do. That's where you make, money on those services. Sure. To be able to help and give back, that's a big deal. So we appreciate you guys doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Brandon.
Well, I think it's amazing.
Well,
I've heard about it, and I think I've participated a time or two. I feel like the challenge has been called out for myself to get involved a little more this year. We'll definitely do that. Love to have you back. And if you get as things move on, if you get some of those really cool items and you want to just kind of come talk about them in the next couple of weeks before, we'll kind of tease it out a little bit. We'd be happy to have you come and do that with us.
Yeah, let's look toward the end of July and see what we've gotten teed up at that point, and maybe we can do a kickoff August the 1st and just say here it is. Last year we had over 1,000 items. Obviously, we don't have time to go through 1,000 items, so we may pick the top 10 out of those that are either in our branches or on our online auction site, and say, hey, guys, just want to let you know this is a great opportunity for this fishing trip or this 1 week condo in Florida, wherever it is. But it just kind of stokes people's interest and gets them stirred up and gets them to the website. So that's what we're after. The more money we can raise for these nonprofits, the better.
Yeah, I've got an idea. I'll have to get with you after we
Okay.
do the show here. I'll give you a
Okay.
tip on one. But
Good.
I think anything else? I think that's we've all. I know you got a lot of things going on, but I
Oh
think this
no,
is
that
definitely something we need.
we've obviously been busy with our paycheck protection. I'll just kind of brag on the bank a little bit. We're $2
Yeah.
billion bank, but we did over $270 million in funding for the paycheck protection program, which is punching way above our weight class. And then it's right at 2,700. Literally thousands of employees were able to get.
Wow.
We were able to provide paychecks to for the last few months. To me, that's a testament to the hard work on a lot of people's part inside the bank. Testament to our customers and making sure what they do. So this is just, again, it's a big world. It keeps revolving. We want to try to make sure we're an integral part of that. So that's part of the push we're doing now. I'm not switching gears. We still have commercial business to take care of. We still have a lot of customers to take care of. But this is a kind of time that you can say, look, 10%, 20% of my time needs to be dedicated to this. I was pushing emails out this morning to a lot of my nonprofits, just letting them know to start talking to their board of directors, start talking to their previous givers, and reach out to them with the information. And they can literally just go to that auctionsinAugust.com website and pull everything they need to. But I'd love to be back sometime early part of August to talk about some top 10 or 20 items we got, and we can follow back up sometime in September.
Absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate you.
Yes,
The
sir.
bank, 270 million. That's a lot. And I just anytime I hear somebody bring it up, it's not as easy. I know some people that are in the business, and I know a friend of mine, a CPA, was explaining to me. I remember the days when that program. I know I've heard you guys had people, around the clock, processing applications, putting things together, and it wasn't just as simple as, hey, just go loan out some money to everybody. I remember my CPA was telling me, he's like, here's the app. And then it was like a text message. Never mind. Scratch that. Here's the new one. Everybody kept saying he was another one. So, I appreciate what you guys have done. And I hope everybody else does realize this wasn't just a normal process, for a bank. This was a completely new program that, came overnight. Basically.
I compliment our congressional delegation, which I've worked very closely with and been involved in the federal side for 25 plus years. A lot of people involved with that. But the best description I can give to people, and yours is very good, was, we were basically building an airplane when we were flying it. And then that's the way it went. Things got changed the entire time we were flying the airplane, but we were able to, build it, land it. Now we've got the forgiveness part coming up, and we want to push forward. Looks like we will be doing some Main Street lending, depending on the customers that have a need for that at this point. And there may be another wave of this. We don't know. We don't know what's coming down the road with the Fed and the Treasury and SBA, but we're prepared to handle whatever comes our way.
Well, on the same token, I'd love to have you back talk about, some of that on some of the bank. I know that today was
Absolutely.
A lot of this was, auction in August, but what you guys have done is incredible, and just
thank you.
The size. So everybody else, stay tuned. Catch us on the next one. Appreciate you watching.
Thank you, Brandon.